हरे कृष्णा। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोकुलानंद श्री राधे जय राधा गोकुलानंद श्री राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna. So before we begin the final session in this series, I want to prostrate myself and offer obeisances to each one of you who's present here, all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. Thank you so much for coming in. By your blessings, may the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, purifying our consciousness, and falling in love with the lordships of our heart. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki. Yeah. With this mood, I offer my obeisances to you. Vancha kalpataru. For the last couple of days, we've been hearing about the glories of Sri Vrindavan Dham. We've been hearing about the cows of Vrindavan. We've been hearing about the birds of Vrindavan. And all of that based on the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has been profusely glorified in the Puranas. And I would like to present a few verses for your pleasure. Verses composed by Bhagavan Vyasadeva in the Puranas, glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Do I have your permission to present that? So please kindly repeat after me. This is in a conversation between the four Kumaras and Narada Muni, presented in the Puranas. Atha te varnyate smabhi. And it's not on the screen. It's just by the ear. Atha te varnyate smabhi mahima shukha shastrajah yasya shravana matrena mukti karatale sthita. The four Kumaras speak to Narada Muni on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they say, Atha te varnyate asmabhihi. Now we are about to speak to you the glories of Shukha Shastraja. That beautiful literature which manifested from the lotus lips of Shukadeva Goswami. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. So now Narad Muni naturally has a question. What is so special about this literature and what does the listener receive by hearing this narration? So the four Kumaras say, Yasya Shravana Matrena Muktihi Karatale Sthita. Liberation from birth, old age, disease and death and the threefold miseries of life. Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika and Adhyatmika Klesha. Freedom from all these problems starts to live on the tip of the fingers of the person who listens to Srimad Bhagavatam. Which means that's how easy it is for the listeners of Srimad Bhagavatam to get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Now we would say, well, that's not the purpose of our life. It's not to get liberation from the negative, we want the positive, right? So the next verse comes in for us. Sada sevya, sada sevya. Shrimat Bhagavati Katha. Yasya Shravana Matrena Hari Chittam Samashrayet. Now think about that. The verse says, Sada Sevya, Sada Sevya. Don't think, I have read Shrimad Bhagavatam once, I have spoken Shrimad Bhagavatam once, I have meditated on Shrimad Bhagavatam once, and at the least I have purchased Shrimad Bhagavatam once. It's not a one-time process. The reason Prabhupada instituted Shrimad Bhagavatam every morning and not just for 7 days, not saptaha, but every saptaha, every week, every day, is because Sada Sevya, Sada Sevya. Shrimad Bhagavatam must be served again and again and again. The word used is not should be read, should be heard, should be spoken, should be sung. No, Sada Sevya. Shrimad Bhagavatam should be eternally served in any of these processes. Sada Sevya, Shrimad Bhagavati Katha. The pastimes given in Shrimad Bhagavatam should be eternally served again and again. Now the question could be, what's in it for me? Right? In America, that's the easy question for any proposition. You say anything and the kid would say, what's in it for me? Right? Children are taught, don't get into something unless you have profit in it, unless there's benefit out of it. So the 4 Kumaras have said, I'm good. Yeah, thank you. Yasya Shravana Matrena Hari Chittam Samashrayet. The guarantee is, if someone gets attached to Shrimad Bhagavatam, Krishna will get attached to that person. And if we want to attain Krishna, and that's why we are studying Shrimad Bhagavatam, Krishna will be eager to attain the lotus of the heart of the devotee. Hari Chittam Samashrayet. It's almost like Krishna enters into the heart and the door shuts behind him. And he's like, how do I get out of this place? I guess I shouldn't think like that. And I should eternally live here in the heart of the listener, the servant of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Bilva Mangala Thakur has said, Karagrahe vasasadar daye madiye mad bhakti pasha ihe bandhana nishchalasan tvam Krishna he pranaya koti shatantarepi sarvasva chaura hridayan nahi mochayami. Srila Bilva Mangala Thakur has said, Krishna, you're a great thief. You steal everything. From the butter to the clothes, to the heart of the devotees, to the sins committed by the devotees, even the complexion of the rain cloud and the complexion of Sri Radha as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And greater the thief, greater should be the punishment. So Bilva Mangala Thakur has said, therefore I'll punish you, Krishna, like nobody else has ever done. I am going to imprison you into a very dirty, dark jail, and that's my heart. It's dirty with material desires. That's just his opinion. It's actually not true. Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur's heart is as clean as it can get. But out of humility, he says, the jail of my heart is dirty with material desires and dark with avidya or ignorance. And that's where I'm going to keep you. So Krishna is asking, how long is this imprisonment? Bilva Mangal Thakur says, life imprisonment. And because you are eternal, may you eternally live in the jail of my heart. And I'm going to handcuff you with the ropes of devotion. And how does that happen for devotees like us? Harihi Chittam Samashrayat, by serving Srimad Bhagavatam. Then continues. Now the question could be, what's the glory of that home where Srimad Bhagavatam is placed? Most grihasthas here, so that's quite a relevant question. What's the glory of that place? What does a grihastha get by placing Shrimad Bhagavatam in his house? Let's chant. Katha Bhagavatasyapi Nityam Bhavati Yad Grihe Tad Griham Tirtha Rupam Hi Vasatam Papanashanam. Katha Bhagavatasya api Nityam Bhavati Yad Grihe. That place where Shrimad Bhagavatam resides, not just as a book, but daily reading. As grihasthas, let's say the husband, the wife, the children, they have different schedules and they're busy. At least 10 to 15 minutes, let's bring our schedules together and sit in front of Tulsi, sit in front of Krishna, sit in front of the altar and read Shrimad Bhagavatam together. The family that reads together stays together. That's not a slogan, I just made it up. Because it's true. It's true. So the Puranas mention, Katha Bhagavatasyapi Nityam Bhavati Yat Grihe. That home where Shrimad Bhagavatam is studied, taught, sung, contemplated and placed. Tad Griham Tirtha Rupam Hi. All pastime places, all pilgrimage places reside in that home. And what do you get by living in that home? Papanashanam. All sins flee away in fear. Now somebody would say, but I can do the same thing by having fire sacrifices. That's what our superiors did, right? The previous generations, they would have a Griha Pravesha Yajna. They would have not a Nashvamedha Yajna, but they would have all forms of Yajna. Upanayan Sanskar, Vivaha Samskar, right? So many fire sacrifices. And it's a fact. When there's smoke in the room and there are big flames of fire and 7 pujaris sitting there, somehow the faith is more. It seems like there's something big happening. But if you tell someone, just chant Hare Krishna, just read Shrimad Bhagavatam, sure, I'll do that. What about the fire sacrifice? Right? Srila Prabhupada said during the installation of Krishna Balaram in ISKCON Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada said, actually we can install the deities by clapping our hands and chanting Hare Krishna. We don't need anything else. But Prabhupada said, that will displease the local Brahmanas. Therefore, to bring everyone on the same page, we'll have fire sacrifices to please them. But actually the deities get installed with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. This verse describes Ashwamedha Sahasrani Vajapeya Shatani Cha Shukha Shastra Kathayascha Kalam Narhanti Shodashim. Ashwamedha Sahasrani Vajapeya Shatani Cha. Ashwamedha and Vajapeya are different fire sacrifices. So Vyasadeva, through the 4 Kumaras, is teaching us, even if there are hundreds and hundreds of Vajapeya Yajna and thousands of horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, or different types of Yajnas, Putra Kameshti Yajna ityadi. Ashwamedha Sahasrani Vajapeya Shatani Cha. If there are hundreds and thousands of fire sacrifices on one side of the scale, and on the other side of the scale there is narration of the verses of Shrimad Bhagavatam, the second line says, Shukha Shastra Katha Yascha Kalam Narhanti Shodashim. The benefit that you would get by performing all these fire sacrifices meticulously is not even 1/16th the part that we would get by reciting one verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam. This is straight from the text. Vyasadeva has described this. Now somebody could have this question. Wasn't Shrimad Bhagavatam compiled at the end? So how can the glories of Shrimad Bhagavatam be sung in the Puranas which were compiled before? Right? Because Bhagavan Vyasadeva compiled all of this. And then when Narada Muni tells him, that's when he compiled Shrimat Bhagavatam. So how can Shrimat Bhagavatam be described and glorified in the Puranas which were glorified before? The answer is, Shrimat Bhagavatam is eternal like the sun. When the sun hasn't risen, that doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. Shrimat Bhagavatam rises and sets like the sun, only to set and rise again. So, Shukha Shastra Kathayascha Kalam na arhanti Shodashim. Shodashim means 16, and Kalam means 1/16. Na arhanti. Even if all these fire sacrifices with meticulous chanting of the mantras are performed, they don't even give the recipient 1/16 the credit we would get by singing one verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Because these fire sacrifices are meant to ultimately please the devatas, the demigods, while Shrimad Bhagavatam is the threefold bending form of Shama Sundar in Vrindavan. That's the difference. Now let's see. What else do we get by studying Shrimad Bhagavatam? Na Ganga, na Gaya Kashi, Pushkaram, na Prayagakam, Shukha Shastra Kathayascha, Phalena Samatam Nayet. Then the next verse says, bathing in the Ganga, visiting Gaya, Kashi, Pushkar, or even bathing in the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati in Prayag doesn't give one the fruit of pure devotion that is attained by falling in love with Shrimad Bhagavatam. If we have only one heart, and if you want to give it to the best person, it is Krishna. He will never break your heart. He'll never break your heart. The Gopis of Vrindavan, talking about a heartbreak, there's something very beautiful. When Uddhava comes to speak to the Gopis of Vrindavan, just a little background for those who are hearing these names for the first time. Uddhava was a friend of Krishna who was sent as a messenger of Krishna to Vrindavan. And Krishna had left Vrindavan, gone to Mathura and Dwaraka. And he was not able to return back to Vrindavan for a long time. So he sent a letter through Uddhav, the dear friend of Krishna. And he told Uddhav, please pass on this message to the Gopis of Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, the devotees of Vrindavan, that I shall return soon. Now when Uddhav came to Vrindavan, he came as a teacher. He thought, they're all students, they lack knowledge. I am the teacher. I am going to give, and they are going to receive. Now, when he went to Vrindavan, they're all crying in separation from Krishna. Now, Uddhav had learnt all the science and all the streams of knowledge from his guru, except ecstatic love for God. So he didn't know what crying and weeping meant on the path of bhakti. When he looked at the Gopis of Vrindavan and they're all weeping, Uddhav said, Krishna is the source of joy. Remember him. All your suffering will go away. You're crying. That's the problem. That's because of avidya or ignorance. I am giving you the solution. Remember Krishna. He's the source of joy. Your heart will become happy. The Gopis of Vrindavan told Uddhav, we are crying because of remembering Krishna. Uddhav, your words are like stone without any emotion. And our hearts are like mirrors. Cheto darpana. Darpana means mirror. And what happens when you take a stone and hit the mirror? What happens to a mirror? Dear Prabhu, I get a message from Uddhav. I get a letter from Uddhav. Dear Prabhu, please request the devotees to move closer to the stage. So in short, when you discuss about Krishna, there's elevation in Krishna consciousness. We make progress. Thank you. Please move closer. I don't know if this is an option according to the management or the arrangement, but the whole stage is vacant. If you want to get over, I'm okay. I have no problem if that helps the devotees. Let's keep moving closer and closer to each other in life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So the Gopis mentioned to Uddhav, Uddhav, your words are like stones, and our heart is like a mirror. What happens when you throw a stone at a mirror? It cracks into many pieces, small pieces. The Gopis mentioned to Uddhav, and this is in the writings of a very great Brajvasi poet by the name Ratnakar Kavi. His original name was Jagannath Das, but he was given the title Ratnakar, which means like an ocean of poetry. And he writes in his poem, Srimati Radharani tells Uddhav, my heart is like a mirror and your words are like stones. You're breaking my heart by giving me advice. Remember Krishna, remember Krishna. What do you think we are doing? We are trying to forget him. We can't forget him. That's our problem. And you're telling us, remember Krishna. Radharani said, your words are creating bigger problems. Why? Before we had one heart with one mirror where one Krishna was getting reflected onto it. But now your words, which are like stones, have broken the mirror of our heart and scattered it to so many small pieces. You're not just breaking the mirror of our heart, but now with every little piece, there is a reflection of Krishna. Before there was one Krishna we were troubled with. Now there are hundreds and thousands of Krishnas reflected in every little piece of the mirror of our heart. How can we help ourselves? This is the beauty. So this verse mentions, Na Ganga, na Gaya Kashi, Pushkaram, na Prayagakam, Shukha Shastra Kathayascha Phalena Samatam Nayet. Bathing in the Ganga, bathing in all these power potent places doesn't give one that benefit that Shrimat Bhagavatam gives one. Just by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Karoti karna ramyani manodnyani jana prabho. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, in one of the verses of the first chapter of the 10th canto. Srila Prabhupada writes, the verses of Shrimad Bhagavatam are so beautiful. When they are sung, they are nectar to the ears. And when they are understood, the meanings are nectarian to the heart. Such a beautiful purport. So with that as the introduction, offering millions and millions of obeisances to Shrimad Bhagavatam, offering obeisances to all the acharyas who commented on the Shrimad Bhagavatam, offering obeisances to Srila Prabhupada who translated the Shrimad Bhagavatam, offering obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit who prioritized the study of Shrimad Bhagavatam for 3 hours every day in Jagannath Puri at Tota Gopinath. Let's begin today's session of the nectarian verses of Shrimad Bhagavatam under the title, under the umbrella of Sri Krishna, the Lord of Vraja. So let's read first the verse from day before yesterday, then read the verse from yesterday, and then introduce ourselves to the verse for today. Ready? Let's sing. I hope everyone's able to see the screen. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita पीयूषमुत्थभितकर्णपुटैः पिबन्त्य शावास्नुतस्तनपयकवलास्मतस्थोर् गोविन्दमात्मनि दृशाश्रुकलाः स्पृशन्त्यः. Remember the glories of the cows? Very nice. As they drink the beauty nectar through their eyes and the flute nectar through their ears. Verse 14. Let's welcome the birds of Vrindavan. Prayo batamba vihaga munayo vanesmin Krishne kshitam taduditam kalavenu geetam Aruhya yedruma bhujan ruchira pravalan Shrunvanti milita drisho vigatanya vachaha. Last evening we spoke about the similarities the birds of Vrindavan have with great sages in the forest. And what were some of those similarities, just of reflection? They both live in the forest. The great sages and the birds live in the forest. They only live off fruits. Great. The birds and the sages, they leave the lower branches of the Vedas offering the lower fruits of material piety, and they climb up on the tallest, or let's say the highest branch of the tallest tree of Vedic wisdom, which is Krishna Bhakti. What else? Both meditate with their eyes closed. So the birds with the flute sound and the munis by form of the Paramatma in the heart. And not just that, both stay silent. The birds are not chirping when Krishna is playing the flute. That's the time for them to learn newer musical notes. So the cows are drinking Krishna's beauty through the eyes and ears, but the birds are exclusively doing through their ears. Now, why does it progressively get higher? That's because the birds have an advantage that the cows don't. And what's that? They can fly. When Krishna's running, the cows can run behind him. But they can only go from one tree to another or one forest to another. But the birds, they can catch up with Krishna from one forest to another every single day. They can go wherever Krishna is. They can fly, they can observe, and they can have an aerial view to what's happening. So therefore, the Gopis of Vrindavan in 13, they say, we wish we could become cows in Vrindavan. Why? Because at least we can express our devotion to Krishna. We can be stunned like motionless painted pictures. We can weep in separation from Krishna. We can forget our duties like the cow forgets to chew on the grass. We can become calves and forget to drink the milk and forget our household duties. And we can drink the flute sound and the beauty through the eyes and the ears. We can at least, if we could just become cows. Krishna loves cows. He will pet. He will prioritize. He will play with us. He will take us with him wherever he goes. But alas, 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 we are stuck in these household duties with Jatila and Kutila around. And in this verse, the Gopis, is headed by Srimati Radharani, they're praying, we wish we could become birds in Vrindavan. Any bird. We could become parrots in Vrindavan. We could become peacocks in Vrindavan. At least Krishna would accept our feather on the top of his crown. We wish we could become swans in Vrindavan, floating and playing and swimming in the waters of the Yamuna, because Krishna visits the Yamuna every single day. He jumps into the Yamuna. He frolics in the Yamuna. He bathes in the Yamuna. He washes his face and rinses his mouth in the Yamuna. And the swans are just drinking the Charanamrit of Krishna every day. The Gopis are thinking, we wish in our next birth we could at least become the birds of Vrindavan. So they go from cows of Vrindavan, they always say, well, let's just fly as birds. And they have a progression, natural progression from verse 13 to 14, from aspiring to be cows to aspiring to be birds. But then they say, in the next text, wait a minute. Why cows? Why birds? Why not just become a river in Vrindavan? Why not just become Yamuna? Let's just become Yamuna. And then they glorify Yamuna in this verse. So the theme for today, two themes. The second definitely is going to be a secret. The first one is the glory of the rivers like Manasi Ganga and Yamuna and so many beautiful water ponds in Braj. Let's sing. Canto 10, chapter 21, text 15. Nadyastada tadupadharya mukunda geetam avarta lakshita manobhava bhagna vega alingana sthagita murmi bhujair murarer Grihnanti padayugalam kamalopahara. How melodious it is when all of us sing together. Let's go. All in one voice, one heart, one voice. Let's go. Nadyastadata dupadharya mukunda geetam avarta lakshita manobhava bhagna vega Alingana sthagita murmi bhujai murare. Nadya. That's actually plural usage. But if you actually think there's only one river, prominent one, that's Yamuna. So Acharyas like Srila Jiva Goswami and Sridhar Swami have commented that although there's a plural usage here, starting off with Nadya, which means plural, coming from the root word nadi. Nadi means a river, and nadya is the plural usage. Nadi, nadyau, nadyaha. The acharyas comment and they say, that's an honorific, plural call to one river, Yamuna, out of respect. In Hindi, many times you see, even if it's only one person, but if he's older, then the plural usage is used as a mark of respect. Aap aiye, baithiye. We'll never say, baith. We'll never say, baitho. We'll never say, sit. We'll say, please. Out of respect, please sit. So the plural usage is used, and same goes for Sanskrit. You use the plural usage as an honorific, even if it's one person, out of respect. So, Nadya tada tad upadharya mukunda geetam. Now the Gopis, headed by Sri Radharani, they are explaining. Upadharya. Upadharya means to listen, to receive, to accept. Mukunda Geetam. Mukunda Geetam means the flute sound of Mukunda. What happens to the river when the river Yamuna listens to the flute sound of Gopal, of Krishna? Oh, many beautiful ecstatic symptoms. Avarta lakrita mano bhava bhagna vega. First of all, avarta lakrita mano bhava. What that means is, there's a whirlpool that's caused in the water of the Yamuna. As soon as Krishna starts playing, Sare Gama Pa, Pancham, fifth note, Yamuna is flowing so peacefully, and now suddenly there's a whirlpool that's caused in the middle part of the river. And Bhagna Vega, she forgets to flow. So two things happening. One, there's a whirlpool caused in the river, and second, her flow to the ocean paused. She doesn't know what to do. She's stunned. And Alingana sthagita murmi bhujai murare. Urmi bhuja refers to the waves, the ripples on the surface. Of course, there are no tides in a river. So it's waves and ripples. Urmi bhuja. What do the waves do? Alingana sthagitam urmi bhujai murare grihnanti pada yugalam kamalopahara. Please, in the Vrindavan forest of your heart, meditate. I wouldn't say imagine, because this is Shrimat Bhagavatam. Meditate that Krishna is sitting on a branch of a tree and he is playing with his legs outstretched. And those lotus feet are touching the Yamuna. So there's like a little branch above the flow of the Yamuna, and Krishna is sitting there and moving his legs, and his lotus feet are touching the surface of the Yamuna. The waves of the Yamuna, as if each wave or each little ripple is an arm or hands, they are collecting lotus flowers and coming in, embracing the feet of Krishna and offering these lotus flowers as gifts. How do you think it would feel to actually witness this? And that's what each one of us deserve. Why should we settle for Netflix? When we don't get the higher thing, that's when you have to settle for something lower. Imagine if there's a lion cub who happens to just grow up with dogs, or with sheep, or with goat, or with deer. The cub would grow up thinking, I am a deer. The cub would never get a chance to actually roar. Only when it grows up with lions will it be cultivated as a male lion. Otherwise, it'll just be timid. It'll try to jump like a deer. And of course, there are no mirrors, so the cub would never be able to see, hey, I'm not a deer. Just living in the group of sheep or goat or deer, a lion cub would believe, I'm supposed to eat grass. I'm supposed to jump. I'm supposed to get scared. And that's what all of us are doing for such a long time. We are all children of Krishna, who's Nrsingadev. We are all lion cubs. But for so many lifetimes, we've gotten used to living in this world of materialism, which can be compared to deer or goat or sheep. And the spirit soul settles for Netflix when he can actually deserve to see these pastimes in the spiritual world. Our acharyas come in this world and they cultivate the lion cub and tell, you've been playing with the deer for quite some time, I respect that, but you belong there and not here. You're supposed to be a lion. That's what the acharyas come and tell us. You're not supposed to be in this world. You're supposed to be in that world. Many times we listen to that and we still love to be with the goat of material objects and material distress and material lamentation and material embarrassment. And we're supposed to wake up, not eat the grass of fleeting, flickering distress, but actually chase the lion pride, the spiritual world. Imagine Krishna sitting on the branch of the tree, moving his legs and touching the surface of the Yamuna. And he's playing the flute to add more trouble to the Yamuna. He's already touching her by the feet, and now he's playing the flute. And the Gopis are saying, headed by Srimati Radharani, there's a whirlpool caused in the Yamuna, the flow is disrupted, the waves of the Yamuna are like arms or hands, and they collect on to different lotus flowers, and they offer it to Krishna's lotus feet, and those waves embrace Krishna's feet as the greatest treasure of their life. Now the Gopis are saying, Yamuna is a gopi. If it's okay for her, why not for us? If the cows can cry, if the birds can get ecstatic on the top of a tree, if the Yamuna can have a whirlpool in her heart, and she's externally speaking a river. So why not us, who born in the same generation as Krishna, in the same family as Krishna, in the same caste as Krishna, we are Gopas in the same Vrindavan, and we are supposed to just do household chores. It's not fair. That's exactly what this is. By glorifying the cow, by glorifying the birds, by glorifying the river, the Gopis are saying, if Krishna can create a whirlpool in the life of rivers, is it very surprising that He is creating whirlpools in our lives? He's creating a whirlpool in our heart, and just like the river flow is stopped, our flow is stopped too. It's described when the Gopis are cooking in their homes. They hear the flute sound of Krishna. They start weeping so much that all of those tears makes the wood, which is supposed to be used for cooking, that wood completely drenched with those tears and wet. And naturally, it doesn't catch fire. And from sunrise to sunset, the Gopis are simply trying to set the wood on fire. And the mother-in-laws and the sister-in-laws are coming in and giving them a hard time, not realizing if it's okay for the river, why not for them? The problem is not with the Gopis. The problem is not with the cows. The problem is not with the rivers or with the birds. The problem is with Krishna. Why is He so attractive? That's His flaw. That's His fault. Now, what's amazing about the comparison between the rivers and the Gopis is that the river is caught between two banks, right? The river is caught between two banks. And the Gopis feel their lives are also caught between two banks. The father's family, the father-in-law's family. And both are trying to stop the river of their devotion from reaching Krishna. But what's happening? It's astonishing. When Krishna plays the flute, the water of the Yamuna just floods. Floods beyond both banks. And that means Yamuna is freeing herself from both sides and running to Krishna. She's collecting all those flowers and offering it to Krishna. But the Gopis are saying, we are not even allowed to see Krishna. What to speak of offering Him lotus flowers? We also feel like stringing garlands and offering it to Krishna, making beautiful preparations and offering it to Krishna, but we are not even allowed to see Him. The river's natural flow is towards the ocean. So therefore it's considered that the river is the wife and the ocean is the husband. In Sanskrit also, nadi, which means a river, is considered to be feminine. And the ocean is sagaraha, which is considered to be masculine. So according to Shrimat Bhagavatam, the river is like the wife and the ocean is the husband. So the river is naturally moving towards her husband. Now what's happening is when Krishna plays the flute, the river, which naturally is supposed to go towards the ocean, gets stunned, stops her natural flow, and instead flows backwards. Now, when the Gopis are doing that, why is that a problem? When Krishna plays the flute and they leave their homes and run to Vrindavan, the forests of Vrindavan, that's exactly what's happening with the rivers. So in this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad, they've all commented so beautifully, explaining how the Gopis feel. If we can't be living cows, if we can be living birds, just make us a non-sentient, non-living river in Vrindavan. At least we will be able to express our devotion openly, completely oblivious to social understanding. Now let's discuss how great Yamuna is. What are some songs that come to your mind? Gaudiya Vaishnava songs given by our acharyas that come to your mind when you think of the word Yamuna. Tell me, what are some songs that you remember, prayers that you remember where the name Yamuna has come? Starting with Jaya Radha Madhava. So, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, right? So it's actually Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Not Yamuna, but Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Vana means forest. Chari means he who walks around, frolics around. And Yamuna means the banks of the Jamuna. So Krishna who frolics in the forests which are found on the banks of the Yamuna. That's one name of Krishna. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan Ki. Okay. What else? What are some other songs that you remember? Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has said, Ami Jamuna Puline Kadambo Kanone Kiherinu Sokhiyaj Amar Shama Banshi Dhari Moni Mancho Pori Kore Lila Rasaraj Ami Jamuna Puline Kadambo Kanone Kiherino Sakhiyaj. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, oh dear Sakhi, to the Gopis, he's addressing, Ami Jamuna Puline Kadamba Kanone Kiherino Sakhiyaj. Oh Sakhi, I can't describe what I saw today on the banks of the Jamuna in the beautiful forests of the Kadamba trees. Amar Shama Banshidhari Mani Mancho Puri Leela Kore Rasaraj. Krishna was playing the flute, dancing with Srimati Radharani and the Gopis on the beautiful stage decorated by Brinda Devi. All of this on the banks of the Jamuna. Vibhavari Shesha. What's the last stanza? Just to give you a hint. Can I give you hints? Is that allowed? Okay. I can give you the melody. Prabhu, that's not even a hint. You're just giving a general melody. It could be for any stanza. Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Namasudhara Sagao Krishna Jasha Rakho Vachana Manamora. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakor. What does the word Jivan generally mean? Life. But the word Jivan also means water. Of course, if you're an environmentalist, and even if you're not, water is life. But poetically and linguistically, the word Jivana means water. So Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana. Krishna is called out as he who's expert in swimming in the waters of the Jamuna. By the way, that's a very interesting reminder. Krishna is the fastest and the best swimmer in the whole of Braj. And who keeps record of that? The swans. It's described when there's a swimming competition, and this is being described by the acharyas. When there's a swimming competition, Krishna swims so fast. And the friends can't cheer him because they're cheering the opposite camp. It's Krishna against all the friends, and it's like a freestyle Michael Phelps, Olympic swimming competition. And as Krishna is swimming, and he doesn't have his friends cheering him because it's a competitive sport, Krishna looks onto the swans, and the swans are warbling, cheering out to Krishna. And with that encouragement, Krishna swims so fast. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is remembering that, and he says, Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana. Oh Krishna, he who is expert in swimming in the waters of the Jamuna, Manasa Chandra Chakor. That's another sweet bird. Just like the Chataka cannot live without the rain cloud, the Chakora sustains his life on the moonbeams of the night sky. The Chakora loves the moon. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Manasa Chandra Chakora. Oh Krishna, he explains very sweetly. He calls Krishna as Chakora. Generally, you would call Krishna as the moon, and you would say the mind is the Chakora, which is depending on the moonbeams of your beauty. But that's not how he is interpreting. He's saying, Manasa Chandra Chakora. He says, in my mind is Srimati Radharani, who is the beautiful full moon. And Krishna, you are the Chakora, being basked by the moonbeams of her sweetness. That's how deep this song is. Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakor. Calling out to Krishna. Can you imagine waking up early in the morning and we're cleaning up the cobwebs of our bad dreams and ignorance, and we wake up from sleep and we're calling out to Krishna with such sweet adjectives, sweet calling. Coming to the point, Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana. Oh Krishna, who's expert in swimming in the Jamuna. Another sweet reference. Not so much about the Jamuna. Yes, about the Jamuna also, but with respect to Krishna's swimming. You know, it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. With one of those verses, originally from the Bhagavatam, but in the context that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would relish Krishna's swimming. It's described that when Krishna swims in the Jamuna, he's such an expert swimmer that he can create a musical note just by slapping the surface and creating waves. So Krishna knows how to use his palms, what angle, what force, and how to pat it quickly so that he can create a musical rhythmic concert. And sometimes it's described, Radharani and Shyamasundar, they have musical concert, competition on who can tap and slap the surface of the Jamuna and create musical songs. Wow. The spiritual world is so colorful. And guess what? That Goloka Vrindavan is waiting for us. Waiting with open arms. And that's why Krishna sends these acharyas again and again to this world to catch us by the ear and say, do the right thing. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has also said something beautiful in Sarartha Darshini, his commentary to the 10th canto. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Mat gavapi gopalo. Oh Krishna, you are expert in taking care of the calves. And we've seen that. You love the cows and the calves. And sometimes when the calves get really naughty, they run helter-skelter, right? And it's described Krishna, of course, he doesn't physically use the stick, but he just uses the cow herding stick, which he keeps under his armpit, just to signal to the calf, behave yourself. And the calf's like, okay. The calf many times goes and drinks dirty water. And Krishna, using his cow herding stick, brings the calf closer and closer to drink the sweet waters of the Jamuna. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, at the end of his commentary, he writes, Oh Krishna, my words in this commentary are like naughty calves. Let's repeat that again. My words are like naughty calves. Wow. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, my words are like naughty calves because they may go astray from the topic. But Krishna, please kindly use the cow herding stick of your mercy. Don't let my words drink the dirty water of this world. Let it drink eternally the sweet Yamuna water of your glories. Such a sweet prayer. Next time we go in front of Krishna, we can say, please repeat, Dear Gopal, you're an expert in taking care of calves. My words are like naughty calves because they may go astray. Please kindly use your cow herding stick of mercy and bring me back on track. Don't let my words drink the dirty water of worldly topics. and make my words, who are like naughty calves, drink the sweet Yamuna water of your pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki. That's also with respect to the Yamuna. So Krishna and Srimati Radharani, many times they would slap the surface of the Yamuna and create Sa. And Radharani would go Re. And Krishna would go Ga. And Radharani would go Ma. Then Krishna would go Pa. Then Radharani would go Dha. Then Krishna would go Ni. And Radharani finally sings Sa. And the gopis are clapping. And that's just one note, by the way. Imagine if they start slapping and swimming and splashing the surface with multiple hands and multiple strokes. They would have so many combinations and so many ragas. Who wins? The Yamuna wins. Because she gets the nectarian, merciful palms of Radha and Krishna. Imagine Krishna going, Sa Re Ga. And then Radharani would go, Re Ga Ma. And then Krishna would go, Ga Ma Pa. And Radharani would go, Ma Pa Dha. Then Krishna, Padani, Radharani Dha Sa. Sa Ni Dha Pa Ma Ga Ma Re Sa. Imagine the gopis with their venas and beautiful mridangas and kartals. On those the beautiful world of musical ragas, they're doing kirtan in the boat festival on the Yamuna. Wow. Yamuna is so great. In fact, all the rivers in Vrindavan are so fortunate. They don't have to go to Krishna. Krishna comes to them. The gopis are thinking, this is amazing. The cows have to go behind Krishna. The birds have to go behind Krishna. But Yamuna, stand and deliver. That's a cricketing term, by the way. When a batsman doesn't have good stance and he can just stand in one place and use his strength to hit a six from that place, it's called stand and deliver. Where does that term comes from? It comes from the Yamuna. She doesn't go anywhere. Stand and deliver. Which means she's standing there in Vrindavan and anyone who dips in her gets delivered. She delivers everyone. Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we'll see this beautiful verse. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved the Yamuna so much. Wow. That in Jagannath Puri, he would look outside his window. And of course, there's no Yamuna there, but there's a big ocean. And Mahaprabhu would look at the ocean. And he would see on the full moon night of Sharat Purnima in Kartik, the moon beams are being reflected on the waves of the ocean. Ganga yaha chanchalatare varini pratibimbitam shobhate tarakayuktam shatachandra nabhasthalam. It means when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would look, it's one moon reflected on every wave and every tide of the ocean in Jagannath Puri. But it would get reflected on every little wave. So when someone looks into the ocean, it looks as if there are millions and millions of moons and millions of stars, all of them getting reflected on the night of Sharat Purnima in the water of the ocean in Jagannath Puri. And when Mahaprabhu would see this, imagine, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nimai Pandit, he knows the difference between a river and an ocean. If we know, he knows. And he knows he's not in Vrindavan, he's in Jagannath Puri, geographically speaking. But when he would see the ocean on the night of Sharat Purnima, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would think, my Radharani, my Shyam Sundar are dancing on the surface. on the banks of the ocean, or probably they're having a boat festival and this is Yamuna. He would not believe when his associates told him that this is not Yamuna, this is actually an ocean. Mahaprabhu would say, no, this is Yamuna. And in the first verse of the 18th chapter of Ante Leela, that's put up there, it's described what happened when Mahaprabhu saw Yamuna in the ocean of Jagannath Puri. Let's sing. Sharad Jyotsna Sindhur Avakalanaya Jata Yamuna Brahmadhavanyosmin Hari Virahata Parnava Iva Nimagno Murchala Payasi Nivasandra Trimakhilam Prabhata Prapta Svai Avatu Sasachi Sunurihanaha. Beautiful verse. You know, it's in a meter called Shikharini, which means sweetness. Shikharini means sweet. Because the pastime is sweet, Mahaprabhu is sweet, the verse is sweet, the meter that has been used is Shikharini. So what's happening? Sharad Jyotsna Sindhu Avakalanaya Jata Yamuna. On the night of Sharad Purnima, Mahaprabhu saw the ocean from the Gambhira. And he was convinced this is not an ocean, this is the Yamuna. And what did he do? Brahma Dhavanyosmin Hari Virahata Parnava Iva. He ran from the Gambhira. Believing that this is the Yamuna, he ran into the ocean and jumped into the ocean. He jumped into the ocean. And as he plunged himself into the ocean, Nimagna Murchala Payasi Nivasandra Trimakhilam. Mahaprabhu went deep and deep and deeper and deeper into the mysteries of the ocean, believing that this is the Yamuna. In the middle of the night, all by himself, Mahaprabhu jumped. And it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. All night long, he was under water, searching for Radha and Krishna, out of the conviction that this is the Yamuna. Oh Krishna, oh Srimati Radharani, where are you? Why can't I find you? And Prabhata Prapta Svai, he was found by his associates only early in the morning. Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, may that son of Shachimata, who loves the Yamuna so much that he could see Yamuna even in an ocean in Jagannath Puri, may that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu protect us. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki! Now, as we meditate on this, how Mahaprabhu was saved from the ocean, we continue to discuss Mahaprabhu's glories, his affection for the Yamuna, but with a 10-minute strategic break. So we'll break now for about 10 minutes, and we will let all of our minds swim in the ocean of Jagannath Puri, only to come back and bathe in the Yamuna. Shrimat Bhagavatam ki! Gaura Premanande! Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We'll take 10 minutes break.
They're not working. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Please take your seats. We're just about to start the Hari Katha. Did you all get a chance to take a dip in the cooling waters of the Yamuna? Only 4 devotees. Okay, fifth. Okay. Good.
Rest are underwater.
Rest are underwater. So please take a seat as quickly as possible so we can start the Katha.
Govind Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Jai Radha Ramana Hare Govind Jai 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 Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai 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 Radha Ramana Hare Govind Jai Jai Granthra Shrimat Bhagavatam ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Jai Shri Radhe Sham. So welcome back everyone in the final 1 hour of this seminar. We were on the banks of the Yamuna, given in the Shrimat Bhagavatam. Yamuna has been so brilliantly glorified in so many pastimes that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the verse displayed in the first verse of the 18th chapter of Antelila, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu plunged himself into the ocean in complete conviction that this is the Yamuna. When we think of the Yamuna, Right from Krishna's appearance, the presence of Yamuna is felt. When Vasudeva Maharaj was carrying Krishna on a basket from Mathura to Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada writes, and there's a very brilliant purport where Prabhupada writes that. This is the first canto. Let me see if we can pull it up here. Yes. Would we also be able to scroll it down to the verse? Is that possible? Or maybe it's on a slide which is not. Would we be able to? In a minute. Okay. I'll just give the introduction by then. Yeah. The purport to this verse, this is Shrimat Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 6. Srila Prabhupada invokes Yamuna's presence in the appearance pastime of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says something fabulous about the Yamuna. We just want to give a little introduction to that, and then we will read that section of the purport. When we are asked what are the top 7 rivers that we are aware of, which are termed holy or saintly, what are the names that come up? Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu. So everyone just chanted the verse. We just say Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru also. Right? These are the 7 top rivers. And now if we are asked what are the top 2 rivers? Ganga and Yamuna. And now if the question is asked, what is the best river out of the 2? How many of us think it's the Ganga? Please be very confident. I know we have only 2 options and 2 hands. Don't use it like this. Let's be confident and only 1 vote per person. How many of us think Ganga is at number 1, Yamuna is at number 2? How many of us think Yamuna is at number 1 and Ganga is at number 2? Wow, too many more hands. And if I would ask you, what's the reason? What would you say? What's that? Krishna bathed in the Yamuna. So Krishna touched Ganga with his lotus feet once, and that's why Ganga is so power potent. But Krishna bathed in the Yamuna every single day, dipping his lotus feet. What's amazing about this purport is Srila Prabhupada invokes Jiva Goswami's commentary. Srila Jiva Goswami, and we want to give you the story background, and then we will read that section of the purport. Of course, I can't see it from here, and I can't read it. I'm not Brahma. But we would pass on the mic to one of the devotees, and you can read the purport. Just the little story introduction to the purport. Srila Jiva Goswami, about 500 years ago, he witnessed a debate. And the debate was Ganga or Yamuna. And they had 2 camps. There were scholars who proposed it was Ganga, and there were scholars who proposed it's Yamuna. And they weren't able to come to a consensus. They weren't able to come to a conclusion. And who was to decide? It was Akbar himself, the great king. And he was sitting there and he was thinking, I want to know which is the best river, but in your religion, in your tradition, seems to be this conflict in opinion. He asked Srila Jiva Goswami for his opinion, according to historians. And Srila Jiva Goswami invoked the glories of the Yamuna from more than 100 different Shastric references, where Yamuna is at number 1. Srila Prabhupada, in this purport, this is Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 6. Prabhupada writes, quoting Jiva Goswami, that when Ganga is purified 100 times, you get Yamuna. Wow. Let's read the purport. We can pass on the mic to somebody who is willing to read the purport. Prabhu, would you be able to help us? Can we offer the microphone here, please? And what's your name, Prabhu? Krishna Govinda Prabhu will read for us the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So this is 119.6. Jai.
Maharaj Parikshit, just after receiving the news of his death within 7 days, a once retired from family life, he shifted himself to the sacred bank of the Yamuna River. Generally, it is said that a king took shelter on the bank of the Ganges. According to Srila Goswami, the king took shelter on the bank of the Yamuna. Srila Goswami's statement appears to be more accurate because of the geographical situation. Maharaj Parikshit resided in his capital, Vasudapura, situated near Kazaneli, and the river Yamuna flows down past the city. Naturally, the king would take shelter of the river Yamuna because she was flowing past his palace door. As far as sanctity is concerned, the river Yamuna is more directly connected with Lord Krishna than the Ganges. The Lord sanctified the river Yamuna from the beginning of his transcendental pastimes in the world.
Now let's hear this. Prabhupada's invoking Yamuna's presence during Krishna's birth.
While his father, Vasudeva, was crossing the Yamuna with the baby Lord Krishna from the same place at Gokula, and the other bank of the river to Mathura, the Lord of Dan in the river.
Did you hear that? Till now we just heard that the Jamuna rose up and touched the lotus feet of Krishna. Prabhupada says, yes, of course, Yamuna touched the lotus feet and Krishna out of affection fell into the Jamuna. Wow.
By the touch of his lotus feet, the river at once became sanctified. It is especially mentioned here in the Maharaj Parikshit to shelter that particular river, which is beautifully flowing, carrying the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Next to it also reads, Lord Krishna's lotus feet are always be smeared with the tulsi leaves, and thus as soon as his lotus feet contact the water of the Ganges and the Yamuna, the rivers become at once sanctified. The Lord, however, contacted the river Yamuna more than the Ganges. According to the Vraja Purana, as quoted by Srila Goswami, there is no difference between the water of the Ganges and the Yamuna. But when the water of the Ganges is sanctified 100 times, it is called the Yamuna. Similarly, it is said in the scriptures that 1,000 names of Vishnu are equal to one name of
Ram.
and 3 names of Lord Rama are equal to one name of
Krishna. Jai. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading for us. Thank you. What do you think of that? That's the power of the Bhaktivedanta purport. When we are confused, Ganga or Jamuna, it's clear. And Srila Prabhupada's quoting Srila Jiva Goswami, who's quoting the Puranas. Perfect. Complete, perfect knowledge. Jamuna is so beautiful. So beautiful. One of the names of the Jamuna is Krishna. What's her name? Krishna. Actually, the word Krishna has been used 3 times in the same verse in the pastime of Kaliya. Let's chant. Vilokya dushitam Krishnam Krishna Krishna hina vibhuhu. We said the word Krishna 3 times, and every time the word Krishna was used, it means something else. Vilokya dushitam Krishnam Krishna Krishna hina vibhuhu. So the name has been used in the male usage as Krishnaha. Please repeat. Krishna. It's been used in the neuter sense, Krishna. And it's been used in the female usage, Krishna. So Krishnaha, Krishna, and Krishna. We're just doing kirtan. So there are 3 usages of the name Krishna. So the word Krishnaha refers to our Lord. The word Krishna in the neuter sense refers to the dark-complexioned snake, Kaliya. And used in the feminine usage as Krishna refers to the Yamuna. So Shukdev Goswami very poetically, he says, Vilokya dushitam Krishnam Krishna Krishna hina vibhuhu. Looking at the dark complexion Jamuna polluted, the dark-complexioned Lord jumped into the dark-complexioned ocean to kick out the dark-complexioned serpent. When Parikshit Maharaj wanted to know, this is how Shukdev Goswami summarized. And he said, let's start the next story. And Parikshit Maharaj said, no. Please elaborate. That's just the first verse of the chapter. Please don't summarize, elaborate. And that's how Shukdev Goswami opens up the chapter. How Yamuna got contaminated first by the presence of Kaliya, and then Yamuna got purified by the compassion of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, with reference, this is 1-156, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami has expressed a beautiful prayer. Let's chant. Kadaham Yamuna Tire Namani Tava Kirtayan Udbhashpa Pundarikaksha Rachayishyami Tandavam. We'll explain the meaning and sing this verse again, because once we know the meaning, then we would want to sing it again. Rupa Goswami Pad says, Kada aham Yamuna tire namani tava kirtayan. O Pundarikaksha, O lotus petal-eyed Krishna, when will that day be mine when I can dance chanting your holy name with tears dripping from my eyes on the auspicious banks of the Yamuna? When will that day be mine when I can loudly chant your holy names, dance in ecstasy with tears dripping from my eyes on the auspicious banks of the Yamuna? How many of us have this desire? When can devotion touch my heart? Hari Bol! Let's chant the prayer again. Kadaham Yamuna tire Namani tava kirtayan Udbhashpa Pundarikaksha Rachayishyami Tandavam. This beautiful river of the Yamuna also served as the background, foreground, sideground for Krishna's Rasa Leela. Krishna performed his Rasa Leela amidst the tamal trees, amidst the kadamba trees on the banks of the Yamuna. Dear devotees, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the Yamuna, he composed this pranam mantra for Yamuna. So next time we are in Vrindavan, we are on the banks of the Yamuna. This is Madhya Leela chapter 3, text 28, Mahaprabhu's composition on the glorification of Yamuna Devi. Let's chant. Ready? Ready everyone to chant? Chidananda Bhano Sadananda Suno Paraprema Patri Drava Brahma Gatri Aghanam Lavitri Jagat Kshema Dhatri Pavitri Kriyanno Vapu Mitra Putri. Very beautiful prayer. Mahaprabhu says, Chidananda Bhano Sadananda Suno Paraprema Patri Drava Brahmagatri. O Yamuna, you are liquefied devotion, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And Aghanam Lavitri Jagat Kshema Dhatri. Anyone who dips in you leaves behind their sins and their offenses and their anarthas. In fact, you have the power to purify the whole world. Then Mahaprabhu prayed, Pavitrim Kriyamno Vapur Mitra Putri. O daughter of the sun god, as I dip in your auspicious holy waters, please purify my heart. This is how beautiful Mahaprabhu's love for the Yamuna is. So now in one voice, let's chant. Chidananda Bhano Sadananda Suno Paraprema Patri Drava Brahma Gatri Aghanam Lavitri Jagat Kshema Dhatri Pavitri Kriyam No. Yamuna is beautiful, very beautiful. Rupa Goswami Pad has said, Ramya Tira Rambhamana Gokadamba Bhushita Divya Gandha Bhakkadamba Pushpa Raji Rushita Nanda Sunu Bhakta Sanga Sangamabhi Nandini Mam Punatu Sarvadara Vindabandhu Nandini. Rupa Goswami Pad ki in his very famous Yamunashtakam. Actually, many acharyas have composed a Yamunashtakam. Rupa Goswami Pad composed a Yamunashtakam. Shripad Vallabhacharya also composed a Yamunashtakam. Namami Yamunamaham, very famous Yamunashtakam. Many other acharyas have also composed Yamunashtakam. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, in the 6th verse of his Yamunashtakam, he says, Ramya Tira Rambhamana Gokadamba Bhushida. The word Kadamba has two meanings. The first meaning of the word Kadamba is group, groups. He says on one bank of the Jamuna, Ramyatira Rambhamana Gokadamba Bhushita. There are beautiful groups of cows and calves. What do they sound like? What do the cows and calves sound like? There's more need for us to go to the Goshala and observe them, I guess. On one bank of the Jamuna, there are groups and groups of cows and calves. Ramyatira, on the attractive western bank of the Jamuna. Rambhamana. Rambhamana means the cows who are very vocal. That's Rambhamana, right? Ramyatira, the Goshala devotees are so happy, I'll tell you. They're like, Prabhu, just keep coming to the manor every month. We want you, our cows want you. Ramyatira Rambhamana Gokadamba Bhushita. Rupa Goswami Pad is saying on one bank of the Yamuna, there are beautiful groups of cows. And on the other side, on the other banks, Divya Gandha Kadamba Pushparaji Rushita. The other meaning of the word Kadamba, Kadamba flowers, Kadamba trees. He says on the other side are fragrant Kadamba trees. On one side are the cows, on the other side are fragrant Kadamba trees. It seems as if Yamuna as a gopi is wearing a necklace with white pearls on one side in the form of the cows and calves, and very beautiful Kadamba flowers or Champaka flowers, yellow colored on the other side. And in the middle, Nanda Sunu Bhakta Sanga Sangama Bhinandini. In the waters of the Yamuna are devotees of Radha and Krishna bathing and purifying the whole world. Rupa Goswami Pad says, oh dear Yamuna, in this way, please, she who gives joy to the cows, the Kadambas and the devotees, oh, that Yamuna, the daughter of the sun god, please purify my heart. As we spoke of Kadamba, the first meaning of the word Kadamba is groups. What's the second meaning of the Kadamba? Flowers. And the Kadamba flowers, how do they look? How many of us have looked at Kadamba flowers? How do they look? No, they don't look like this. They're round. They're like the decorations that are found in a Christmas tree. They're round and they're very fragrant. They're yellow, they're tender, and they're just beautiful. Therefore, dear devotees, we offer our obeisances to the topic of the Yamuna river and offer our obeisances to the appearance of another subtopic in our discussion, the glorious trees of Vraja. The trees of Vrindavan are so beautiful. There's a very nice verse I would like to show you. This is again Shrimat Bhagavatam. Canto 10, chapter 22, text 55. I don't think there are 55 verses in that chapter. Or does it say 35? It says 55. I think it should be 35. If you can kindly verify, I think it's 35 if I'm not wrong. I don't think there are 55 verses in that chapter. Yes? It is 35. Yeah, okay. So Canto 10, chapter 22, text 35. Let's chant this verse. It's very beautiful. Krishna is glorifying the trees of Vrindavan. Etavad janma saphalyam dehinamiha dehishu pranair arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. How beautiful. Etava janma safalyam. Looking at the trees of Vrindavan, Krishna is pointing. He's pointing his finger to the trees and invoking the attention of all his friends. And he says, dear friends, etava janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu. All of us, the Brajbasis, Krishna is saying, we should aspire to become trees of Braj. Not literally trees, but like the trees of Vrindavan. Why? Actually, the trees are amazing. Not just of Vrindavan, anywhere. Trees by default are amazing. They're saints. Why? Chayam anyasya kurvanti tishtanti swayam atape phalani cha pararthaya vrikshaha satpurushaha iva. Who in this world would be ready to stand under the heat and ready to offer shade to others? No one. It's only the trees. The trees are so amazing. They're ready to sacrifice. They're ready to give every part of their body for others. The trees offer their leaves. They offer their flowers. They offer their fruits. They offer the wood. They offer the sap, the honey dripping. They offer in the form of fuel and paper. They offer shade to travelers. And what's amazing, many times the trees even become dwelling places or homes for birds like woodpecker. And the woodpecker lives in a tree and pecks the same tree. And when he gets tired with his beak, rests in the little nest that he has made in the same tree. And only gets rejuvenated to come out and peck the tree again, get tired and take rest. And the tree is okay to tolerate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains we should become like trees. Taroriva sahishnuna. Trinadapi sunichena. Taroriva sahishnuna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invokes the trees as gurus for the whole world. In fact, Mahaprabhu says we should learn to tolerate more than the trees. His Grace Jayananda Prabhu was like that. If you read the biography on his life, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he was amazing. It's described, His Grace Jayananda Prabhu, when he would go out on Sankirtan, he would go on the streets chanting the holy name. There were times when dirty water was thrown on him from the top. As he's walking past doing kirtan, there was dirty water, sometimes rotten tomatoes, sometimes even eggs. Dirty water emptied on his head. And Jayananda Prabhu would say, a lot of that water cleaned the pathway. Thank you very much. He would tolerate it like that. One time, one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, he was giving a class. And I'm not saying what is right and what is not and how much we should tolerate. This is not a tolerance seminar, but I'm just making a point. One disciple of Srila Prabhupada was giving class, and there was a water cup kept next to him. And in the assembly, there was one person who had come for the Sunday feast in the temple in North America. And she was, I believe, mentally disturbed, or she had some problem. So she walked in the middle of the class, picked up that cup, which was full of water, and emptied it on the top of the speaker on the Vyasasan. Just as an introspective check, what's that one emotion that would rise in our heart at that point? Anger, shock, disbelief, humiliation, embarrassment, right? You know what that speaker spontaneously said on the microphone? He said, Prabhupada said we should bathe 3 times. I had only taken bath twice. Thank you. And I got reminded of another beautiful lesson that trees teach us. The trees offer fruits to this world. And when you squeeze a mango, only mango juice comes out. When you squeeze an orange juice comes out. It's not that when you squeeze a mango, orange juice would come out, or you squeeze an orange, mango juice comes out. Why? Because when someone is squeezed by circumstance, what is inside is what comes out. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us the art of tolerance. How much did Srila Prabhupada tolerate? Srila Prabhupada came from a culture when it was not natural to have dogs at home. He didn't have dogs. He didn't see anybody have dogs. But Srila Prabhupada explains, when I was in Mumbai and the person was driving me around, Prabhupada writes, he had a pet dog. So the person would drive the car and behind was Prabhupada sitting and next to Prabhupada was a dog. And Prabhupada said, I would feel, I have never done this before in my life. And the dog would just look at Srila Prabhupada with an open mouth and a long tail. Prabhupada tolerated so much. He tolerated heart attacks for us. He tolerated sharing the same refrigerator where there was meat kept in Butler, Pennsylvania. What excuse can we give? At least in our generation, what excuse can we give? Prabhupada tolerated so much. The trees are such a great example of tolerance. They give so much to mankind. Now, if we ask what's the greatest gift trees give mankind? Oxygen. If you can kindly help me, please. Thank you. What's the greatest gift trees give us? Shade, fruits, but what's the greatest gift they give us? Oxygen. I read a slogan once. Only if trees could give internet. Unfortunately, they only give us oxygen. Sarcasm at its best. The trees tolerate so much. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Antilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he explains, the tree is ready to get dried up, ready to be cut down, but the tree never holds any malice against anyone. Even when the most heaviest, sharp stones are thrown and pelted at the tree only drops its best fruit. Srila Prabhupada writes in a purport, please repeat after me. This is Srila Prabhupada's words imprinted in gold. The greatness of a person is to be ascertained by his or her ability to tolerate provoking situations. It's not by our education, it's not by our influence, it's not by our experience, it's not by our prowess, it's not by our fame, but it's by our tolerance, our ability to tolerate provoking situations, that our greatness is to be ascertained, is to be determined. Krishna points out that the trees of Vrindavan, and he tells his friends, These trees serve mankind through fruits, flowers, leaf, and wood. We all should serve mankind, Krishna says, pranair arthair dhiya vacha. Through thought, word, deed, with all our intent. With wealth, with our mind, with our decision-making ability, and with our heart, serving others. In fact, these trees of Vrindavan are so amazing. They tolerate even more than other trees outside. Guess what? Not just heat or cold. The trees in Chicago also tolerate cold. But what's so special about the trees of Vrindavan? They even tolerate the pangs of separation from Krishna. As Krishna goes to one forest, the trees in another forest are only hoping, wishing, and praying. Krishna didn't come today, I hope he comes tomorrow. There are 12 forests in Vrindavan, and absolutely there's no database telling everyone Krishna is in Madhuvan, all other trees. Take note of that. Nobody knows where Krishna makes dynamic ad hoc plans. So the trees in Bandhiravan are thinking maybe Krishna will come tomorrow. The trees in Mahavan are thinking maybe Krishna will come tomorrow. The trees in Kumudavan are thinking maybe Krishna will come tomorrow. Srila Rupa Goswami terms the love of the trees as, please repeat after me, Viveka Shunya Prem, which means unconditional love, without any discrimination. It's so beautiful, dear devotees. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada explains, the trees of Vrindavan are so amazing that they bend their branches as Krishna and Balaram walk, only to touch the feet, lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram with the tips of their branches. But then Krishna and Balaram pass quickly, and then the tree is again burning in the fire of separation. When will Krishna and Balaram come by my path again? As the tree is feeling like this, the tree has a friend, and that's the breeze of Vrindavan. What do the breeze do? They carry the flowers of these trees, and as Krishna and Balaram are walking, they offer the flowers at the feet, telling Krishna and Balaram, it comes from that tree who loves you. Some beautiful references have been given here. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in one text, he writes, Krishna talks to the trees. And Krishna tells the trees, "O wise trees of Vrindavan, I love all of you." And he tells the trees, "Did last night's rain quench your thirst and nourish your flowers?" Krishna embraces these trees. He climbs on top of these trees. He tastes those fruits and picks those leaves and flowers and decorates himself. Think of the Kadamba tree that Krishna climbed on to jump into the Yamuna during the Kaliya's pastime. The pastime of Kaliya is quite astonishing. Kaliya, in the presence in the Yamuna, had, by the influence of his poison, destroyed all the trees in the neighborhood. But it's described, this Kadamba tree, according to the commentators to that verse, they explain, this Kadamba tree was holding his life hair together with the desire, I hope Krishna someday comes and climbs onto my branch and jumps into the Yamuna. And because Krishna is attained only through intense greed, that was the chosen tree that Krishna climbed on and poof, jumped into the Yamuna. How sweet. How beautiful. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati writes, Radha karavachita pallava vallarike, Radha padanka vilasan madhurasthalike, Radha yasho mukhara matta khagavalike, Radha vihara vipine ramatam manome. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad writes, all glories to the trees of Vrindavan, who are born of the dust of Braj. They live all their life in Vrindavan and prefer to leave their body but never leave Braj. All glories to the trees of Vrindavan, whose flowers are hand-picked by the tender, delicate fingertips of Srimati Radharani, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj. All glories to the trees of Vrindavan who witnessed the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the secluded forests. All glories to the trees of Vrindavan who see the dust imprinted by the signs and symbols of Radha and Krishna's lotus feet. Prabodhananda Saraswati says, may that Vrindavan, fully filled with the precious trees, may that dham be revealed in my heart. Think about Brahma Samhita, where it's described. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha. Traya kanta parama purusha kalpataravo. Where every tree in Vrindavan is a wish-fulfilling tree. The dust is Chintamani touchstone, where every word is a song, and where every step is dance, and where every day is a festival. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki! It's described. When the deities of Vrindavan were taken away to Jaipur, this was 500 years ago when the Mughals were attacking Vrindavan, breaking temples and destroying literature and killing the Vaishnavas, even attempting to kidnap and destroy the deities. The devotees at that point, they would run to Jaipur with the deities just to protect their lives. Some of them ran to Jaipur, some of them ran to Karoli. Some of them even took the deities to Radha Kund to protect Radha Raman, Radha Govindadev, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madan Mohan. During that time, there's a very famous story. It's a folklore, but a very famous one in Vrindavan. That during those days, a grandson asked a grandfather, Grandpa, now that the temples are being destroyed and the deities are taken out of Vrindavan, whom should we worship? And the grandfather looked at the grandson and said, even if all the temples and all the deities are taken away, we Brajbasis will eternally worship Krishna in the dark wood of the Tamal tree. And we will eternally worship Srimati Radharani in the fair complexioned wood of the Kadamba tree. We will eternally worship these two trees because they are Radha and Krishna in the tree form. Rupa Goswami Pad, in his very famous compilation of verses called the Padyavali, verse 96, Rupa Goswami Pad calls out to Krishna in relation to the trees of Braj. Let's chant this beautiful verse. I'm not sure if it's on the screen. Yes, it is. Padyavali. Let's chant. Govardhana prastanavambhuvaha Kalinda kanya navanila padmam Vrindavanudara tamala shakhi Tapatrayasyaabhibhavam karotu. Look at Rupa Goswami's poetry. Govardhana prastha navambuvaha. O Krishna, should I call you the bluish black freshly formed monsoon rain cloud on top of Govardhan? See, imagine when Krishna is standing on top of Govardhan playing his flute. Rupa Goswami Pad says, should I call you as a rain-filled cloud on top of Govardhan? Or when you swim in the waters of the Yamuna, Kalinda kanya navanila padmam. Should I call you as the fully blossomed blue lotus flower swimming in the Yamuna? So what are the two options? Krishna, when you're on the top of Govardhan, should I compare you to a rain-filled monsoon cloud? Or when you're swimming in the waters of the Yamuna, should I call you the blossomed, tender, beautiful, night-blooming, fragrant, attractive The best lotus flower. But then he says, but when you stand in the forests of Vrindavan with your broad chest and thin waist, you look like a tamal tree who has opened up his arms in the form of the branches to embrace the whole world. Vrindavan udar tamal shakhi tapatrayasya karotu. Rupa Goswami Pad says, when you stand on top of Govardhan, you look like a rain cloud. When you're swimming in the waters of the Yamuna, you look like a blue lotus. And Krishna, when you're playing the flute in a threefold bending form, in the middle of the night, in the forests, you look like a tamal tree. Anyway, these three forms of Krishna, what are the three forms? Rain cloud, where? Govardhan. Blue lotus flower, where? Yamuna. Tamal tree in the forests of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami Pad says, may these three forms destroy Adi Daivik Klesha, Adi Bhautik Klesha, Adhyatmik Klesha. The threefold miseries in my life, may they be destroyed by these three forms of Krishna. Finally, to wrap up our discussion, there's so much that can be said, but we have to respect time as well. The very great poet of Vrindavan by the name Surdas, he was a disciple of Sripad Vallabhacharya in the Pushti Marg Sampradaya. In his song, glorifying the trees of Vrindavan, he writes, Netrahin Surdas has presented, when Krishna feels separation from Srimati Radharani, what does he do? He sits under the Kadamba trees, because the Kadamba represents Srimati Radharani. He explains, Krishna sits under the shade of the Kadamba trees. He decorates his heart with a garland of Kadamba flowers, and he sheds tears remembering Srimati Radharani. Surdas ji writes, when Radharani is in man or sulking anger and she won't meet Krishna, Krishna takes solace in taking shelter of the Kadamba flower garland, the Kadamba tree shade, and calling out to the holy names of Radharani. The Gopis headed by Vrinda Devi, they send this Kadamba flower garland of Krishna to Radharani. And they say, please check for yourself. These flowers have become tender, completely wet, drenched by the tears of Krishna. Hey Radhe, if your heart has melted by this sadhana of Krishna that he has performed to the Kadamba tree, please return to Shyamasundar. And looking at this flower garland drenched in the tears of Krishna, Surdas writes, Radharani instantly gets up and runs to Krishna, and it seems like a golden Kadamba tree running towards a bluish black tamal tree. All glories to the trees of Vrindavan. Dear devotees, in the theme that we discussed today, rivers and trees, they are a combination. Classic combination, lethal combination. Gopya kimacharadayam kushalam sma venum damodaradhara sudham api gopikanam bhunkte swayam yadavashishta rasam ridhinyo rishyatvachoshru mumuchustaravo yatharya. Shrimat Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, Text 9. It's described. Srimati Radharani and the Gopis are speaking. How lucky is Yamuna? She doesn't have to go to Krishna. Krishna comes there on the pretext of feeding water to his cows. He wakes up all his calves and cows in the morning, and they have been fasting all night. So he tells them, break your fast with water. Let's go to the Yamuna. And the Gopis are saying, how lucky. Krishna with all his group, they go to the Yamuna. And not just that. Krishna keeps playing on his flute. He fills the nectar of his lips in the holes of those flutes. It's not said in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna plays on the flute. It's just said he keeps the flute to his lips and fills the nectar of his lips into the holes of those flutes. That's very beautiful. So if Krishna is filling the nectar of his lips into the holes of the flute and then taking that flute and while bathing in the Yamuna, dipping his flute into the Yamuna. Now the gopis are saying, how lucky is Yamuna? She's being touched by the lotus feet of the Lord, the lotus palms of the Lord, the lotus face of the Lord, and also the nectar of his lips is dripping and mixing into the water of the Yamuna. And so much so that Yamuna cannot drink anymore. So she spills some of that water to the roots of the roots of the trees who were present on the banks of that river. So in the form of river currents, Yamuna is actually offering some prasad to the roots of the tree. And the gopis are looking at these trees. The trees go. And the gopis are saying, it's not because of the breeze of Vrindavan. Those trees are in ecstasy. They are dancing. They are dancing. They are being touched. So the flute is being touched by the nectar of Krishna's lips. And the flute can't drink anymore. So he's offering it to the Yamuna. The Yamuna can't drink anymore. She's offering it to the trees. The trees so happy to get the prasad of the Lord. Maha prasad. And the trees dancing in joy. And the gopis are saying, it's not blossoming of the flowers, it's their hair standing on end. And it's not sap or honey dripping, it's tears of gratitude to the Yamuna. Thank you for sharing the prasadam with me. And those fruits are getting juicier, as if it's their bhav or their love which has become fructified. So the gopis are saying, the trees are so happy. Why? Ultimately, the flute is a bamboo flute. It comes from the wood of those trees. So the gopis are saying, the trees could never touch Krishna's lips. Just like, I don't know about the UK, I don't know about the US. I grew up in India. In India, doesn't matter what your child is inclined towards educationally. You have two options. You either become an engineer or you become a doctor. You could be a great singer. Do it to the side. You have still two options, engineering or medical. You could be an excellent cricketer. You still have only two options, right? And many times it's like the son or the daughter get a golden opportunity to fulfill all those desires of the parents that they couldn't fulfill. Like the father couldn't get a PhD. Son, I want you to get a PhD. Something that I could not. I want you to. I couldn't be a doctor because my father didn't have money, but your father does. You become a doctor. But Dad, I want to be a business doctor. Where does that idea come from? Srimad Bhagavatam. The flute has a father. That's the tree. Because the flute comes from the tree. And the tree can never touch the lips of Krishna and walk around with Krishna. The tree also wants to embrace Krishna on the waist or hold Krishna by the palm or be on Krishna's lips and be constantly a companion of Krishna. But the tree can't. He is well rooted in the dust of Braj, if you know what I mean. The tree can't move. But because now the son, the flute, has fulfilled all those desires, the gopis are saying, the tree is happy. He is moving in ecstasy. He has hair standing on end in the form of flowers. His heart is fructified as a fruit. And he's crying tears of joy. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad writes, it's like a father who is happy seeing his son become a devotee. the cows of Vrindavan, the birds of Vrindavan, the rivers of Vrindavan, the trees of Vrindavan. There's so much more, dear devotees. But next time. Next time when we are here by your arrangement, by your blessings, Krishna willing, we will continue the series of Sri Krishna, the Lord of Braj.